right? I'm like,
don't you want to turn on him?
I gotta turn it around. I have to say good morning first, though.
Okay, well,
You think the people them don't want to see my cute face for a minute?
This is all campaign war son.
I know that's my song. Hell, people think that just because I sing calypso. Well, people don't know you know the song. Let me tell it to you. Let me read to you. And this giant ghetto.
So they right, they got to see that thinking let's go my crying because she can't feed her church. She got a big pit bull. It's looking healthier and freaking. And I watching this, I was like, this is what's wrong with America. The dog look.
Beauty. That he looks at things. Tell them I say I was born in St. Croix. I gonna die in St. Croix. Nobody gonna run me. Not even Albert Bryan.
You didn't hear me this week ratting out Kid Boy. You didn't hear that one.
No man.
When I tell them other people want to come from other place, all right,
Well, you know, after act like me in the people like press conference, you have to leave that. But you have to listen.
Like this.
Yeah, you have to
I got Jamila like this.
oh Lord.
We can't be having fun. Listen, somebody said they have a video of you and dancing.
Yeah.
You see, I had to drink tea for other people fever. I drink tea for other people fever for.
That was last election.
I think I remember that.
Okay. Oh, that wasn't recent.
No.
Oh.
You crazy. So, you know what? And I say like Karen is just like totally misguided that damn Janelle Sorrow. But she ready for Congress, man.
We live, you know. I just tell you I unmute. Why you just be talking stuff? I am so done with you. I keep telling you can't say that because when you talk about people they win the election.
You have to misbehave on him.
I know that this is what I'm talking about. That's a problem. But then you get a nice retirement check. Then you're done. I have to go see these people Monday.
Now you gotta go walk with them.
Good morning. And how are you guys this morning? If you guys are just tuning in, you're at 9:70 a.m. on your radio dial, WSTX. And you're not seeing me, you're hearing my voice, but you're seeing the governor of the Virgin Islands, Albert Bryan Jr., and sometimes he doesn't behave. And for the listening audience, open disclosure, I think I've known him however old you'd be when you're in 5th grade. From however old I is, that's how long I have known him. But he's always been like 100 years older than me. He have like a big head start. You know, I am the same age of his baby brothers. I'm the same age as Alric. A lie.
You're Robert age.
Well, you don't. No, Robert older than me though. Let's just make that clear.
It's just so weird, like good morning, Virgin. It's so weird, like I remember my brothers like coming home to the house and being in the crib, and I'm looking at them like, I wish they could talk, and then remember saying, I wish they could shut up. You got younger siblings? No?
One. Well, no. Well, yeah, I have a lot of siblings. My father, Eddie Russell, has 11 kids, 9 girls, 2 boys.
In real life?
in real life. He had,
Oh my God.
so like between in a 2-year span, he had 7 of us. So like in
Wow.
1 year, I have a brother who born in January, I born in February, and my sister born in March. Then the following year, he had one that was born in May and one that was born in August. And then the next year, he had one in February and the other one in July. The same 3 girls was stupid for he for like them 3-year period.
All right.
And then
Talk
and-
about speed dating.
no. He had 3 girls. My mother, my sister, my sister's mother. You know Makita.
Yeah.
My mother, Makita's mom, who he ended up marrying, and then my sister and brother Rashida, mom Gail. So he had Letty, Gail, and Carlene. He had like them. Yeah.
Wow.
He was running a racket in UBI.
Now them food prices are cured.
Yeah.
Cured.
Yeah, and
okay?
so then Diane, she was
Mhm.
before us. She's like 3 or 4 years older than us. And then Diane and Stephanie were born in the same year. So he had 2 the same year with Diane and Stephanie. Then he took like a little sabbatical for 2-3 years, and then he had the 7 of us in that thing, and then he was like done for a long time. And then we have like 2 siblings that are like 10 years younger than us.
Wow.
So yeah, so you have a group of us.
You know what? That's good. I always think I only have 2 children, and I only had 2 children because my mother had 5 of us.
Mhm.
And you know, we never got to like go on family vacation, and it's
Mhm.
like you remember the days. I know you know about this. Don't act like you don't know.
Oh.
When telling me it was 12, telling me
Yeah.
it was 11, but we were like huge to get in the movies.
Yeah. Listen,
I'd be like, Ma, there's no way anybody's gonna believe that I'm 10. You know, tell him it's 10.
yeah.
You know?
If they ask.
Yeah, because I mean, like it was like
Yeah.
we only had 1 car. You know, we had a Volkswagen. All of us had to pile up in there. You know, them days
I
you
didn't
gotta
even have-
leave your children in the car when they go shopping.
But we didn't even have a car. So
Wow.
when Granny, because my grandmother raised me, because my mom was a teen mom, when my grandmother would go grocery shopping, it would be in Frederickstead because we were from Frederickstead. But
Where'd you go grocery shopping?
In
Ain't got a grocery
Frederickstead?
store in Frederickstead.
Oh, what are you talking about? You had Don Lorenzo? What are you
was
talking
that?
about?
Like a little shop. Like
It
we had
was
like
a central meat market. That's what you call it. It was 2 immigrants. They were from Cuba, and they had everything in that little shop. They had a whole back section with the meat.
My name?
Don
Don Lorenzo.
Lorenzo. His name was Mr. Lorenzo, but we couldn't call him Lorenzo, so he said Don Antonio in Spanish. I grew up in a Puerto Rican household, so a lot of my things are like Spanish-ish.
So my grandmother never drove, and so like Savan is kind of like Frederickstead, right? So we had a bunch of shops in Savan. But back then, people never used to really buy food and put up. Nobody had that kind of money, you know. Maybe you put up some canned beans and some spam or something like that. But most of the time, you know, I keep telling people we need to tell young people these stories because they don't have any clue of how we grew up. Because we never really used to eat dinner before. I don't remember. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, salad is something that came in the 70s, 80s.
What salad? We had no salad.
I'm like telling more like, oh, we always ate salad.
No,
like,
salad?
no.
Salad. I grew up in a Puerto Rican household. I was salad beans. What are you talking about? Your vegetable was beans. So you get stew beans, or you know, sometimes on a Saturday, like on a today, Granny used to make garbanzo beans. I don't know what you call it in English. I don't even know.
Chickpeas.
Okay, well, whatever it is,
Garbanzo
beans. We used to eat that, and she used to put some pork foot in it. And you used to get fight for who got the pork foot. You know, the fight they used to have over food in the project.
Yes.
I used to win though. That's why they used to call me Quattro Belly. You know.
But that's funny. Like we used to play. People ask me, you know, why I eat so fast? Because we used to play who finished first help. So if you finish your food first, you could eat other people's food. And they never had no second, like never had no seconds and them kind of things going up neither. You know?
Yeah, my grandmother used to, I remember. And I mean, and it was just so weird because you know, people would be like, oh, what are you having for lunch? What are you having for dinner? I used to remember my grandmother used to get up, get some breakfast, and then when she cook again, that's when you eat again.
Yeah.
Like we didn't do 3 squares.
No. Like a cup of tea, like or the milk, some pet milk with some hot water in it, a little bit of sugar, some bush tea from the yard.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you had like Cocoa
quick.
tea.
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah. Remember when the liquid one come out? We're like, we
What?
would never get
Listen,
out.
I call it Granny never buy that one. You better be happy with the powder. Store it for the powder to dissolve.
But then why would it remember? I remember, right, when Pueblo and Grand Union started first carrying the generic stuff. Remember? They used to be in those white box.
Good value. It was
So it would
big
be a
value.
white box. When you see that white cocoa tea in the thing, you're just like pissed.
Wow.
The peanut butter was horrible.
And don't bring home no half brand. If it had the rooster on it, you used to be vexed with some.
Because first of all, you ain't supposed to put on hot water and cornflakes. And we used to, my grandma used to be like,
hot water with pet milk.
I know. You're not supposed to. My grandma used to be like, you need some warm in your stomach. Because I'm in my put something warm in your stomach. I used to get yelled at all the time. I said beef, but
yeah, it used to be, and it used to be a cereal because by the time you eat it, it was so saggy. It was like a cereal.
But a generic one used to get saggy one time. Sometimes you see the hot water, they don't saggy already. So yeah, I mean, like those things are like they're funny now. And I remember asking about Felix because Savard didn't have a grocery store. We had Vicente, Roosevelt, Hawkins, Nyresta, Red Bar. Red Bar was like the biggest thing.
Okay.
Carrillo, Raul Carrillo.
Yeah.
His parents owned Red Bar in
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird how I didn't know that till the DeYoung administration. But you have all these people that grew up in these little neighborhoods, and a lot of people, I often see Zora to talk about Walter A.M. Hodge and the rally group and the people that surround that. It's like when back in them days when you were neighborhood, you were really neighborhood because we used to be outside all the time.
Yep.
And I'm glad we started this conversation because I was really irritated this week with articles about no.
Okay.
We good with that. We're going to that next book with the biography thing, right? Because I realize you can't appreciate where Virgin Islanders are if you don't know where we come from, right? If you don't know who Maud Proudfoot is, if you don't know who Sandy from the market is, like you don't know the trials and tribulations we have gone through as a people, you can't really give an accurate accounting of how far we've come. So I remember, all the way back from being a big Adelbert Bryan fan in the 80s when I was in high school, because at that time, there was a real rallying around Virgin Islands for Virgin Islanders, and we felt that we were being put out in a lot of different ways. And he was one of those voices that were really trying to advocate for us to get something. That's when all of the Aborigine stuff came up, and when you seen us go through that, I mean, we saw the Renaissance close down twice. Remember when Prelix left?
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot. Coming out the day after Hugo, and never thinking like it's been 36 years and we have not recovered.
St. Croix has not.
It is not.
And some would say that the St. Croix proper hasn't recovered from the effects of Fountain Valley of 72.
That's a good point.
Some I have heard older Virgin Islanders say that we were on a upward trajectory, and the events of that day left a stain and open disclosure. Everybody knows that my uncle Raphael Joseph was a member of the Fountain Valley of the Fountain Valley Five. And so there are many who still believe that that carries, a stigma or a hardship.
Listen,
for St. Croix.
It does. Let me tell you, I remember, right? I didn't know why, but the first time I came to St. Croix, we were staying at Granada Del Mar. My dad was working for the bank. They had a condo they rented for him. And I stayed up all night, petrified that somebody was going to come and kill me. As a kid, I didn't know anything about Fountain Valley Five, but there was this permeating feeling that St. Croix, they just kill you. And it's starting to fade a little bit, I think. I don't hear that as much in St. Thomas anymore. But it was like a thing that everybody believes. So I mean, St. Croix has overcome some incredible hurdles.
And sometimes you just, it's not what you're called, it's what you answer to. And so as a people, as Crucians, we have to always be cognizant of of the obstacles that are before us and what people perceive you to be, so that you don't feed into what they think you are.
You know what's amazing though? It's like how people are so amazed when they come to this island, because what people tell them is nowhere near what they're thinking, because you really have a beautiful sense of community, and to truly experience St. Croix, like most places, I think St. Croix specifically though, 'cause you could go to St. Thomas or St. John, you're gonna run into the party, you're gonna have a good time. But to really experience St. Croix, you need a cushion to take you and have an experience. You know, I was, Wanda just opened up a new place here. But Wanda, what Wanda last name? I can't remember the first name. Who that said Rose spoke? Bermudez.
Yeah.
She's coming down, Richard, nice little bar that was in there the other night. And just like how warm people are, you know everybody. It's really good people. And as we get older, we're getting to be better people because we want to be in heaven.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're trying to. Yeah, you'll be trying to.
But I think those stories are the ones that, that we really need to tell, because nobody remembers. I'm saying this because I had a long conversation with my oldest, Aliyah, and she was totally oblivious of life before her. So, by the time she was born, we had a nice house, we lived on a hill, we're making good money. By the time she became cognizant, she was in private school. So she didn't really know all the struggle that it took to get there. She don't know my story, she don't know her mother's, or she don't know her grandmother's, because she never really met her grandmother on my side, and her grandfather died when she was probably 5 or something like that, right? So when you think about all those things, there's a lot of kids in our community that don't know the history, the living history. I don't say living because these people are still alive. And when you look at, right now, they're trying to write Turnbull's documentary, but everybody dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, there's nobody around to talk about, what was happening there.
And able to validate it. So your thought process on this, because I didn't know about the struggle with you wanting to get your own documentary until somebody said, "You hear what your friend doing?" I was like, "What? Who, which friend now?" Because everybody.
That's why they didn't say your friend.
Yeah, your friend.
Girl.
Yeah, right. So I was like, okay, and they said, yeah. He said he wanted to tell his own story, and to some, just so to some, it would seem a little bit narcissistic.
Of course,
you want to tell your own story from your lens versus other people telling your own biography or presenting your administration the way they see it, and then interviewing you on the outset. So your rationale is nobody can tell it better than you.
No. I'm not gonna be like, what do you think I'm gonna be directing this thing? Like, no, I'm not gonna be. I ain't got time for that crap. I don't have time for that. I think it's more of a documenting of what happened. Cassandra Dunn is one of my favorite people in the world, and
Mine.
She always tells me, Albert, you need to tell a story a generation now. You need to tell how y'all got together and y'all got to take over the government.
And mess up the government, some would say.
Yeah, whatever they want to say. But I mean, I think when you look back at history, I'll say unabashedly, and I dare anybody to challenge me. It's the greatest administration in history of the Belgian.
Well,
I mean, just on dollars alone. I mean, when you think about, and then
but they were entitlement dollars. They weren't.
No. We weren't gonna get these dollars because
they weren't. But
what's the most glaring example? They're gonna call you after.
No.
But when you look at them,
Ken. No, and Ken doesn't call me after.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm talking about Ken.
Ken did a good job.
Yeah. I just want to say, and
he's gonna be a government house next week.
And had it not been for you listening and not waiting your turn, he would have done continued to do great work. But so in terms of dollars, I tell people this all the time. Albert Bryan, as a governor, came into leadership at a very interesting time in our government. We had just suffered 2 Category 5 hurricanes, which America and the whole rest of the world that act like the Virgin Islands and only certain places that experience Category 5, like hello, we had two in less than 2 weeks, and you came into government with a vast majority of the people in the district that you lived in not supporting your governorship.
I want to talk about that too.
Right? A lot of people in this district did not support your governorship, and
about 56%.
You were successful in becoming reelected. You have all of these federal monies coming in, and all of these projects that supposed to be starting. Some started, some finished. So you have been, like the stars and everything aligned for you to a great respect. And whether they liked you or not, and whether people like you or not, I do believe that history will speak to your leadership during COVID times. Because whether or not you are Albert Bryan fan, whether or not you supported Albert Bryan, and everybody knows, I Team Ken Map, I thought that you did an excellent job in the decision making during COVID. Yeah. And you've been lucky.
And luck is when
luck and preparation.
Luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. Yeah. But I mean, the one thing I think, like retrospectively, I think we were the most prepared and the most unprepared group to enter government house, because we were prepared in terms of, we had studied the government out, and I say we because it's a bunch of us. We had studied the government and said, oh, but I want to go back to, when, like, I don't let anything pass happenstance. I went back and I checked this, right? John DeYoung beat Ken Map with 18,000 votes. Map had 13,000 votes in 2010, right? Ken Map lost to me with less votes, right, than he lose to John DeYoung. And I won with less votes than he lost to John DeYoung. So Ken Map lost the next election. The John DeYoung Map election had 31,000 votes. Mm-hmm. I beat Map like 12 to 10, somewhere around that, like 12,000 to 10,000, which means that we've lost about 10,000 voters, and the majority of those voters was St. Croix, because there's no way you could tell me that DeYoung, coming off of the Diageo stuff and the gate, won every single polling place in St. Croix, right?
That's why people on St. Croix felt like the elections was rigged.
Well, it wasn't, because you know what happened during that time? Yeah, Obensa left. And I realized that's why I didn't win any either, because the working class, upper middle class of St. Croix vanished. Mm-hmm. And that's at 9,000 votes. So I'm not saying I would win all, but I would have won a lot more. So as a candidate, I was much more appealing in St. Thomas, where they were frankly sick of Ken Map. But when you look back at history, Turnbull sat me down and he says, there's only 9 of us. Mm-hmm. And when you sit in this seat, you understand the other 8.
You do.
So I get Ken Map, you know what I'm saying? But all of us I have been successful because I've learned from the mistakes of the other 8. Mm-hmm. And the primary mistake, which is, I'm telling you, you got a lot of people trying to get in the gate now.
Oh, Jesus, I so tired of them.
The primary mistake is to stop anything. Mm-hmm. If you stop anything, you're dead, because you don't know what you're going to get. If we had stopped all the projects that had started during the MAP administration, nobody knew we were going to have a global pandemic in 2020. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew that. And that would, because you can imagine, I think we got 2.5 years. So all my projects, like all my major projects, are coming into fruition now. We've already finished 1,000 projects, 1,000 work orders we have closed for FEMA. These are the major projects now. If we didn't have COVID, I'd still have 2.5 years to see these things happen. Mm-hmm. Which I think I should get 2.5 year bonus, but no governor doesn't. Every governor gets something, MAP had hurricanes, DeYoung had hell and high water here. Hess closing, the American recession. You have one thing of the WAPA crisis. My when I was married to Yoli, right? Every time I go away, something will happen. Like if I go away, something happen in the house. And what Jimmy Weber told me this, and I repeat it because it was so profound. He said, "You never get credit for what you stop from happening." So, two things: if our administration didn't handle COVID well, I don't know where we would be today. We'd probably be in receivership. And the other thing is that we manage so many things so well that they out before they become an issue. Now think about this, right? You cannot turn on the TV without seeing food stamp problems. People ain't getting food stamp, people governors opening pantries. We're not doing that in the Virgin Islands. It's not even a discussion. You know why? Because way back in 2019, when we did the first budget, Carl and I said, "Hey, Gov, this rainy day fund been on the books for a while. No one has ever funded it. We've always talked about it should be funded." I told Jennifer, who was OMB then, put $5 million aside for this, and we did that every year. So one of the last WAPA crisis we had, I think it was the first one, we didn't have ARPA money. We used $6 million from the fund. I think we had to buy a generator. Yeah, pay Vital.
December 2019.
Yes. Good. So, when Milton, Senator Potter, mentioned he wants to pay it out of this, I was like, ain't no money in there. There was $13 million in there. For the first time, and that's not luck. That's planning. For the first time, it's like, I remember.
Your administration still owe to the rainy day fund though, because part of the legislation was you're supposed to replenish.
You should be studying that.
I know you're studying it, but I'm just.
It
would be, not what I have to. I have to do my job. But I'm glad that you did that, and I want, for people, I wanted to have a snap discussion, but we could, the snap people are going to get the money. Trump is going to appeal the ruling that the judge says that you have to pay the people the full benefits. So we were able to clear that hurdle. To your point, before we go on, and I wanted to start with this, and we have a ship, Iwo Jima, I think is
you think that's luck too?
Well, I don't know how well. I appreciate that they're here on St. Croix. I was in Frederiksted yesterday, and all of the ATM machines in Frederiksted were empty. The private ones, First Bank had to re-up. The short time I was in Frederiksted, they had to re-up twice, right? But there's a scheduled power outage in the Frederiksted area, and I have got businesses were a little bit concerned with the ship being in town, whether or not there's any discussion from your administrator to because this isn't gubernatorial level. Did your administrator reach out to the powers that be over at the Water and Power Authority to explain, hey, we have a major Navy ship in, businesses need power in this town. Is there something that we can do to, maybe reschedule this scheduled power outage for a day when they're not in town? Because these businesses have been suffering for a long time. And the one time they have thousands of people actually spending money on shore. Yesterday, I see 2 sailors walk all the way from Frederiksted up to Hannah's Rest to go use the ATM in the gas station up there. And when I pulled over to their gas, that's what they were like, oh, this is a short walk. I was like, oh, yeah. Anyways, they're different from, I live here. That is not a short walk. And he called somebody on the boat to tell them to come. Yeah, we's not walking. Yeah, we walking. And so, hear me call. Richard. Do you know if there were any discussions with the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority and your administrator or your chief?
No, I can't say. So they have a meeting every day. So let me tell you how them ships get in town, right? This is, I don't know if I'm going to embarrass him or what, but I'm going to say, Oakland Benta
Oh,
son,
Jesus. Okay.
Oakland Benta's son,
Mhm.
and my daughter went to school together. He inboxed me on Facebook and
Mhm.
said, "Gov, we can't come to shore because these people say the Virgin Islands dangerous, and we tired of being to sea."
Oh, wow.
And I took that. I called my general, Kojo, Knox
Mhm.
Limbacher, and my team, and they got together and they contacted Department of Defense, had a conversation with them. So we have a meeting every day about the logistics, the police, transportation.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they discussed it. I'll make a call when I leave here to call and see what's going on too. But it wasn't easy to get them here. So please leave people alone.
No, man, them man in Frederickson behaving good.
Yeah,
them
yeah,
man in
yeah.
Frederickson.
That's a lot of money for we, man.
Listen, and a lot of money for them man who don't really have jobs down in Frederickson doing what they're doing. So, it working out for them.
It worked out in St. Thomas. We know in a couple of we didn't have any incidents, and they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna. The military is gonna be in the Caribbean for a while. I did an interview yesterday talking about good Trump, bad Trump.
Mhm.
The good Trump is it's like our Caribbean neighbors are not liking it too much, and I understand that their sovereignty is very precious. Like
Mhm.
you have small countries, Barbados,
Mhm.
St. Vincent,
Mhm.
Aruba, what have you, that military presence there is really threatening.
Yeah, very threatening to
But
them. With who's in charge?
but for the last 30 years, I mean, the U.S. has ignored the Caribbean. We see the
Wow.
immersion of the Chinese coming in Jamaica and a lot of the other islands, or in Bahamas. The Bahama are financing resorts, financing campaigns, financing stadiums.
Mhm.
In the U.S., not saying anything, and now you have the U.S. in the Caribbean asserting its force. Rosie Roads. It's so funny. We on Reuters, girl.
Yeah.
I mean, they're writing stories about Puerto Rico and St. Croix fixing the airport to prepare for these military engagements. I think that's great. Like one of the things that the beginning and the end for Puerto Rico was when Rosie Roads closed down. When they protested about Vieques, rightfully so, they closed, and I think they do it willfully. Then push them close Rosie Roads.
But that's what they do, and I need for people to understand that, like, when you are the president and there's a governor of a territory that you don't like, hint hint, kind of things gonna go bad. Let me just put that out there. Governor, one of my faithful listeners just sent me a text. CNN is reporting that the Supreme Court lets Trump pause the full SNAP payment.
Ketanji Brown did. I don't know why. They don't say why. It's a temporary pause.
It's a temporary
Finish
pause.
the statement so people. I was about
so
to
I didn't see it for now. So that means that the lower court ruling that required all the full SNAP benefits to be paid has been halted. So while some people in some states were very happy, thinking that they would have their cards activated, say Monday, they're now back into this abyss of the unknown. And our people in the Virgin Islands, and I can say this because I happened to have gone to the grocery store sometime during the week, and two of the ladies were there with the checks, although the checks were made out to their mothers who were bedridden or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, they let me cash it." I was like, "You can't cash it. If your mother have a bank account, people see you in the grocery store and expect you for answers." I was like, "Does your mother have a bank account? Just deposit it in her account and use her bank card." And they're like, "Oh, we could do that." Do you?
You know what? It was so amazing about it. You talk about growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
The grocery stores actually called our offices, and they were telling people to tell people, don't sign your check before you come to the grocery store, because people didn't know where to sign the check.
Yeah.
And that's to show you, like, when you think we haven't changed, right? You remember your mother, your grandmother with a little government envelope with all the cash in it, they go and cash the check. Like, we don't use checks anymore. So you have a whole generation of people like, I don't know how to fill out a check.
And they don't know how to. So
sign the back and where to sign and stuff.
So I just wanted to, and there was a lot of conversations here in our social media platform. And I want to say this: not everybody who receives SNAP benefits are people who just trying to stay home, make 500 children, and don't want to work. There are working people who have been the recipient of food stamps. I, Jamila Afifa Russell, can tell you that I got $438 from my son got shot in 2013. I was working and I qualified. And if it had not been for one of my friends, I was like, you struggling with your medical bills, you struggling to take care of a child at home without insurance, you could qualify. And I did not know that I could qualify. I went and I was working. And I got food stamps for two. I was so vexed when I went to start to work over my house with Ken and the food stamps stopped. And I had to use cash again. But like for 2 years, I received SNAP, and I have always worked. I have never not worked. So for people to think that it's just somebody who is sitting at home, not doing anything, that they don't have bills to pay, I can tell you. I mean, it may have other people in the community that might be ashamed to tell you that they utilize SNAP. I had SNAP and I had like it. And it was a pretty card. I used to take that bad boy out and swipey. and when the swipey was done and I had to use my own card, I was like, and I got really good, because when you're working in a private sector, you're not making as much money and you don't have health insurance, you budget differently. And I just want the public to know that not everybody who's on SNAP goes in and buy lobster tail. My children never had lobster tail.
Those things are like folk stories from the past. I mean, I was telling somebody too, it's like, I worked public housing for about 8 years. And if you go to most of our housing communities in the day, they're empty, like everybody gone to work. Mm-hmm. You come in at night, you just see a lot of cars in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. I was shocked. It was when somebody was helping in Williams, like their rent is $1,000 a month. I was like, dang. I was like, in public housing. So there's this misconception about who gets assistance in our community and our working poor. The Virgin Islands expensive. I go to the grocery store, just regular ground beef and like rice and things like you put a couple things in your cart, it's like $50. Mm-hmm. I get old too, so I mean I got sticker shock with a lot of the prices from what it used to be to what they are now, because you remember what you used to pay. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for working families. And then even if, when you that's why we have like pre-K and stuff in school now, because you get your first child, you want to try to give them a little head start, mm-hmm. Put them in a little church school, or mm-hmm. so you pay a little couple hundred mm-hmm. a month or whatever. People want better for the children.
Yeah, you always want better for your children.
So you get the subsidies to go to school. They go to school earlier, they read earlier. Y'all had a piece of legislation the other day to, lower when I say the legislature, to lower the age to get into kindergarten, lowering the mandatory age to kindergarten. And you realize we have pre-K. We have pre-Head Start, pre-K, and kindergarten.
I think that didn't make
it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. But let me ask you a couple of questions, because I know you have a hard stop at 9:30. So let me ask you. See, what people don't know is that we're just having a conversation, and you and I could talk about national things, and then people will be like, "Oh Jesus, are you?" Not realizing that there's people who we need to be responsible to. So let me ask you this question. You sent down a piece of legislation to the legislature. It was in the news about buying French Reef.
Yeah.
That was the headline. The government wants to buy French Reef. When you read the details of, I think, what the issue was with that piece of legislation, which was only like one page, which surprised me. I was like, I read your letter, and I can tell you, as somebody who works in the building, I read your letter, and then I read the accompanying legislation. I was like, he can't be serious. Where's the rest?
Because
and I'm like, okay, so he wants the legislature to like write the rest of the bill for him, right?
This is a very simple thing. It's not.
Well, actually, it's not. When you go back in the you need structure.
No, because you know what we have. The thing that
wait, before we jump in. So, what was your rationale? You sent down a piece of legislation, and for the listening audience, those of you who's been under a rock, the governor sent down legislation to allow the Public Finance Authority to refinance I don't know the debt for, I don't know if they're Diamondback or Fortress now, which iteration it is. Fortress, for Fortress for Frenchman's Reef, and in exchange for the refinancing, in 30 or so years. Listen,
that's not accurate. So let me tell you.
No, but that's what your letter said. 30 or so years, when the debt is repaid, the property reverts to the government. I remember those exact words from the letter. I was like, who wrote this letter? Why he signed this? Did he read the first paragraph, or was he in a rush?
So first of all, it's simple and it's complicated. I like to simplify things. So first of all, we are already paying the debt for the Frenchman's Reef. I don't think most people understand. Yeah, you look shocked. We already paying the debt for the Frenchman's Reef.
Yeah, we are.
Because the Hotel Development Act, which the legislature ratified, guarantees that I think it's like 12% of the room tax, 12% of the room tax every day is dedicated toward paying the bonds for the rehabilitation of the Frenchman's Reef. The piece of legislation that I sent down does not do that. The piece of legislation that I sent down authorizes the PFA to extend the rights to issue bonds to its subsidiary, which will be the holding company for this hotel. That's it. So the legislation is a very generic piece of legislation because anybody under the Hotel Development Act could go ahead and do this. And very simply, what they're doing is there's a tax vehicle, a tax law that says that if you take and float these bonds for a nonprofit, they're going to be tax exempt. So what these people want to do is they want to take their money out of the hotel and be able to invest in other things. So they're taking their money out, courtesy of the Virgin Islands government, and they have to give that hotel to a nonprofit. In 30 years, a nonprofit will revert the ownership of the property to the government of the Virgin Islands. We don't have to spend a dime. There's nothing for us to do. As a matter of fact, the only reason why we have to do this, because the bond covenants weren't, the bond attorneys weren't sure that the PFA had the right to do this. Well, they're sure now. So we did this already. We did this for the special purpose vehicle, which the legislature said, oh, it had a lot of requirements. But we did this the other day for the Gavi bonds. And the legislature extended that. They were so distracted by the fact that we were issuing $200 or something million worth of bonds, they didn't realize that they gave us a right to issue a special purpose vehicle under it. I don't think they did. And there's no requirement in that special purpose vehicle of who should be on the board or anything. And it went through the same. It's the same board, that's the special purpose vehicle. And this board will be the same board that is the Gavi board. So
I don't
it's the
want
same
to
people.
misquote I was watching as I was talking to you. The source was Bryan administration proposes tax exempt bond financing for Frenchman's Reef ownership. So I didn't want to misquote the headline, but I hear you on the.
So we've done this already twice.
I know that we've done it, right? In terms of issuing the bonds, but the legislature of the Virgin Islands, even in the, and I do believe I have,
look for your thing. I'll tell you what.
I have the bill for last term, right? That they passed for the
GRS.
For the Gavi bonds, right? So that was Act 8949, right? And there was whereas you defined, but what I'm saying is in this bill you have section 1 where you have the affiliated corporation, FW, you have definitions and all. The bill you sent down was one paragraph.
You know what?
But right here it does, the legislature did it does say here that you do have the authority to in where is it? Is in section where you strike section 11, the statutory lien created. But what the difference between this, right, is that this is public property. We're issuing Gavi bonds for the purposes of public works, fixing the roads. this is a private entity, and that in the end of the 30 years, and if let's in the worst case scenario, then we get a hotel property. I'm just
No,
speaking
best
from
case, not worst case.
well, okay,
So
but we have already, and this is where I you know, I'm trying to figure out how you guys are circle into a square peg. In cases where we have already demonstrated that we wanted to be out of this business, we did, and when I say we, I'm talking about the government of the Virgin Islands. We have divested all of our interest in Kings Alley, Carambola. What would be the impetus for us? What is there to gain for the other than helping a corporation, right? What would be what added benefit and value would this deal bring for the territory? Maybe I'm missing that.
So first, let's start off with, we have been issuing bonds, private activity bonds, for decades without the legislature's approval. That's how Hess built part of the cat cracker and the coker and everything. So the PFA don't need the legislature approval to do this. But the PFA can't issue any bonds. And this was interesting. Did you know that?
And the PFA, for the public, the PFA already gave them $100 million in October 2024.
I don't know about give, but
well, when I said it, they issued bond
Right.
last year to the same entity.
Right.
So I'm just trying. For me, it's a matter of, I'm trying to figure out, what does the Virgin Islands, what benefit does it have for the territory?
What do you mean? We're getting a $400 million asset. I mean, it's like, when 30 years, that thing is going to be worth $1 billion. So let me say this first. The PFA doesn't need the legislature to do this transaction.
Okay.
The reason why it needs a legislature now is because in 1997, government issued bonds started to be regulated. They weren't really regulated before. And in order to issue those bonds, you have to have your audits up to date. We're 3 years behind in our audits because of the hurricane, right? That 2 years, we can't catch up. We're catching up. We should be caught up this year. So that's why the PFA has not been able to issue bonds. So what the PFA is asking the legislature to do is give our subsidiary the same right we have to issue bonds as we do. That's all. So now when they issue those bonds, there's no obligation to the Virgin Islands government. People say we're getting out of the hotel business. We just got back in. The Waiko Hampton Inn is built on GRS property. That hotel is going to belong to us in 30 years. Emerald Beach belongs to us. It's going to Hotel on the Key belongs to us. We didn't sell it. So what I'm telling you,
and I would counter that by saying the guy for Hampton, I think he came for a rezoning. He came for he used the hotel occupancy tax for a portion of that, but
most of it.
And he built it. But when you take I guess how it was presented gives you pause for concern, because this is a Frenchman's Reef. Let's just call a spade a spade. They start as Diamondback, then they switch over to somebody else, then they're Fortress, and it just seems like on paper.
No. So the I want to make sure we understand this. So the REITs call it wasn't Black Diamond, it's Diamond something. It's not
Diamondback or Diamond.
It might be a Diamondback, but
Something.
Diamondback is a REIT, and the reason why, remember, they were suing their insurance company for the damages to the Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond Rock,
okay.
Diamond Rock owns, like, don't quote me, like 30,000 hotel rooms, but most of them are in the convention space. What happened in 2020? COVID. COVID totally ruined their portfolio because nobody was going to conventions. They just started going to conventions. So what they did is that they don't have much recreational hotel space. This is one about 2 or 3 hotels that they had. They got in a partnership with Fortress to take over the hotel, and then Fortress completed the transaction because they were cash strapped. They needed cash to keep their business. So Diamond Rock has been a very, very steady REIT in the Virgin Islands. Now, Fortress is a hedge fund, essentially. They ain't gas, all kinds of stuff. and they're essentially saying, okay, because their thing is always take your money out and flip it, double it, whatever.
Yeah.
So the hotel will continue to run. We don't have nothing to do with the hotel, but the property belongs to us, and that has been, I thought when I first came into office, I said, because I was on the Port Authority board when Bulky reverted to us. So our people that came before us said, let's give people government land, and in 30 years, it'll become our asset. So now we are during the last 10 years, we have been re-renting out all of the property. Hotel on the Key is one of them,
And let me ask you this. So in 30 years, you get a property. Who's
Not,
this?
not a property, the premier hotel resort property in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, but would it be premier if they did like what Carambola did and let the rooms go into a state of disrepair? They're not fixing leaks.
No.
They're not.
The covenants and everything like that provide for maintenance money. All of that stuff is set aside, so they can't do that because that then they couldn't pay the bonds. You think the people who buy in the bonds want to make sure that they have a hotel when they like? Because if they don't have a hotel, there's no hotel room tax, then you can't pay the bonds. You gotta realize, in 30 years, $100 million is not going to be a lot of money. You've seen this thing with Elon Musk going to be the first trillionaire. So it is.
Elon.
We don't have to do anything to get this property. It was not our idea. They came to us and said, "Would you do this?" And I said, "Yes, of course we're going to do it."
Why they ain't gone today? If they're so into hedge funds, why they ain't gone to JP Morgan?
I mean, it's a bond. I mean, they're floating bonds. They're not getting. They're not getting a loan.
So I'm always, and it's just the cynic in me, when hedge funds come to me and ask for the government to float a bond, I start to think about people like Bernie Madoff, and I begin to wonder why they want a government bond and why they're not going to the traditional people that they traditionally go to borrow money.
You know what I thought about? I was thinking about this the other day. It's funny you should say it, right? I've been governor for 7.5 years, and I brought all kinds of stuff forward. I went through hell and high water to get them passed. I think everything that I have brought forward, a major proportion, has gotten through, except abandoned and derelict. This is the last thing, right? A major proportion, the high impact. The governor of the Virgin Islands, even in the last term and the term before there, where have we been? Where have people been hoodwinked? Why are people so suspicious? It's almost like I feel foolish sometimes, right? Because we go to the legislature to defend people against the government of the Virgin Islands. That don't make any sense. The legislature and us on the same team. Why would we, the government, the administration, or any administration, do something to deceive their people? Like, why? And I mean, it's like, I challenge people. I listen to people.
And I agree with you on that.
I listen to people talk about me.
I agree with you on that.
Like, I challenge people. Catch me in a lie. Catch me in any lie. Anything that I've said that wasn't true in 7.5 years. Anybody, bring it. Call now. You can't, because I even when the news is bad, I'm transparent. It is clear. We brought 6 times the economy of the Virgin Islands money to the Virgin Islands. We paid all kinds of things, and people so suspicious. I mean, it's like, if the legislature, let me tell you this, and I don't mean this insulting, right? The legislature don't have 1/10 of the power of introspection, inspection, and investigation that the government of the Virgin Islands executive branch have. We got attorneys, can done, consultants. When we do something, it gone through the ringer.
And with that being said, you said now 1 paragraph bill that I'm going to tell you to your face. The bill needs work. You can't
What do you want to say?
You just want you realize that you sent your drafter didn't draft that properly.
Because it is not for this transaction. It's a component. It's just an amendment to the Hotel Development Act.
No, but what you've done, if you take the Hotel Development Act and you read it properly, and the sections that you struck.
You don't want me to go there now, you right? Yeah, the
No,
legislature raised the salaries of
listen,
everybody in the
I am
government to
not.
$35,000
Listen,
without even a hearing.
well, we're talking. I'm just talking about. You said you're going through all of this level of introspection, retrospection, whatever you said. I'm going to defend the institution where I work and tell you
I
that
approve.
the bill that you sent down
You know
was flawed and it gonna need work.
what those
If it's to be heard, I don't know what's going on with it.
we need to
I'm
get
just
this heard.
I'm just
Otherwise,
a
we're gonna
staffer.
miss the
You
opportunity.
know, I'm just a staffer, so I don't know
Y'all realize,
where the
right?
bill is going,
The
but
legislature.
it's going to need work.
I want y'all to count the days y'all have a piece of legislation. In 10 days, right? I decide what to veto or pass in an hour. I mean, like I have 30 bills that it takes the legislature 6 months to do in 30 minutes. I mean, so and I read the bills, right? Y'all don't have a legislature, don't have no bills more. This bill is not about, I ain't gonna be insulted. So this bill is not about this transaction. The bill is about an amendment to the Hotel Development Act.
But even when you're speaking to somebody who would draft for a living, right? I am saying, because I've read it, even as drafted, even if it's the amendment just to that section, what a lot of these attorneys do, and I have problems with some of them, but I didn't go to law school with ESQ behind my name. They don't take a look at the other sections of the bills, and then you have conflicts in one section of the code, so based on the other and other sections of the code. And I'm just saying that if you want to, I do believe that there should be, and if you're going to amend it to allow for your affiliate of the Public Finance Authority to be able to issue bonds, then you also have to take a look on the other end about the implications of when they go to apply for the credit through the EDA that then comes down to the legislature for approval. Because you have one set that has to have legislative approval and another set that once you've moved it, it goes directly to the PFA and the legislature is no longer involved.
That's not true. That's not true. It still has to go through the legislature. The thing that I think everybody misses is that you can't float a bond unless you have a funding source. And the PFA don't have any funding source. The PFA don't make any money.
It does not.
So the legislature, the PFA already have the power to do this. They're just not up on their audits. We're just not up on our audits.
So why not just work double time and get your audits? Or
No,
you will
man,
think your
audits,
audits will be clean?
No, the audits coming back. It don't matter whether they're clean or they're dirty. It doesn't matter that you get them done, but they take a long time because they take tests and you got accounts to go to. Otherwise, it would have been up to date. But I mean,
what year are y'all in?
I think we're on 23.
You're
I
on
think we're about to close 23.
FY 23?
24 supposed to be closed by like March, May, something around that. And then we're hoping to get 25 by September. So that then we'll be up to date. So for the next governor.
Yeah, so you don't have time.
But I mean, we've been floating bonds using.
I mean, you say you're going to miss this. What do you mean you're going to miss this? Oh, you said if you don't get it heard, you're going to miss this.
Yeah, because the transaction has a time that it needs to go, and we wanted them to hear it last week.
What? But I mean, what's going on that they need it closed so quickly?
It's an optimal time in the market for these types of bonds, number one. And we've been working on this for like 6 months. We just realized that we needed the legislature to give it this power. Normally we wouldn't even take it to the legislature. The PFA could have done it itself. Like
you did in October 2024.
But we were authorized. I want to make sure people know the legislature authorizes us to do that. You know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, yeah. But so that's what I'm saying. We already have the power, so it's top
do the top of that one. Okay. We need it? We're back live, and I'm just having a discussion with with the governor of the Virgin
Next year, I
Islands.
run it for the legislature. I know. I run it for the Senate.
Oh Lord,
You know.
why you like to look for problems? So you.
I'm thinking about my logo. It's like gonna be like Bryan, keep trying.
Uh-huh.
Uh-uh.
I even agree with you. So you're saying, as Albert Bryan Jr., you honestly believe that this proposal and this SPV and this affiliate corporation that you want to create, you truly believe that this is the best path forward for the government of the Virgin Islands?
Absolutely, we're getting something. Well, now we gain something now because we already paying for it.
Yeah.
So, at least we pay for it.
Because we're losing. What people don't understand is, and the hotel development occupancy tax is a wonderful thing. It allows people to come in. My problem is, and I could just tell you what my problem is straight out the front, is that you don't want that the PFA don't have any bonding capacity left for a project.
No, it doesn't affect our bonding capacity at all.
And
so I got some projects on St. Croix too. So I can't talk about those yet.
And so that is the issue. And I think that, as a Crucian, and as you work towards, filming and writing your own documentary, you're at that point in even a document. What is it? Autobiography, as you do your own autobiography film? I
don't think it's good. I think it's more going to be about the landmark things that happened during the administration.
Old folks used to say back in the day, self-praise is no praise. You're supposed to let everybody talk about you, right?
Well, it's not about praise. It's about history. It's about facts. I don't have to brag, I mean, the record speaks for itself. I mean, I don't listen to people talking and I just laugh to myself. It's like, if it's one thing right? Like,
modest much?
The people, no, I mean, I'm the same person. I stepped into this job in 2019. I still, you see me in the studio, right? You see how I look, right? This is how I dress, like a normal person.
So you honestly believe that this is?
Listen, let me tell you something. I don't do anything.
And it's not going to. You said it's not going to affect our bonding capacity.
Not at all. It doesn't affect anything.
And sometimes when you talk, right, you don't have the major stuff up on top, and then since you're not in the day-to-day dealings, you just give what and what the broad view, and then when people speak to the actual people who are in the mix, and they give the right stuff, then it will sound like conflicting stories, like this purchase at Hamilton House. What a building in
IPP, the International Private Bank.
Yeah. You give one when there's two different stories.
Those are two different stories.
Well, different prices. You give 6 million. You said 6.7.
I told the reporter, don't quote me, somewhere around 7 million.
Okay. So you did say don't quote.
Yeah.
Okay, because the other story was very accurate. Had accurate information, and so I gotta let you know when you're going. Speak me while you're late, because I want you to get beat.
People texting me. Tell them about this.
I want to get beat.
I'm going to go mentor some kids. We're doing a leadership class today for teenagers at Government House or Cap Officer. You say, got my I'm very active in a fraternity nationally as well as locally. Still, I'm actually going to. I've already participated in major leadership conferences for them. I'm invited to the Bahamas to do for our Founders Day. I am the keynote speaker for that. But forget all of that, right? I mean, I do this job because I absolutely love doing it. And people are surprised that I say I would run again. I'm kind of glad they have term limits, because I would run again, because I am absolutely not passionate about anything else. I don't even feel like I have a job.
Okay, Donald.
I don't even feel like I have a job.
You're beginning to sound like Donald. That's why people are, liking you to the Donald, because you're saying these things. You're not supposed to say these things publicly. I mean, it's okay to think them.
No. But that's how transparent I am, right? You don't got to guess what I think. I go tell you. So, I mean, when you look at, think about this.
So you really like the job, and you honestly think that you're doing a good job.
Oh God, I tell you, the best administration in the history of the Virgin Islands.
And St. Croix still don't have a hospital.
Yeah, but people.
But why? Everybody will get sick.
But listen, but the thing is, right? I could take it back to MAPA administration.
We don't-
It took us 2 years, almost 3 years, I think, just to get that what you call it thing fitting out. We're still fighting in court, the contractor for that, by the way, which I'm paying through my nose for at the PFA, because the thing doesn't have any windows. Okay, I don't go there, right? People think building these things, this ain't a score. I please go out there to Paradise and see how intricate that school is, and then think about a hospital. These things, remember, we had to go to Congress and FEMA and agree on building these things to today's standards.
And no,
We don't have anybody to build it, you know. I mean, you can think about it. We got 4% unemployment. 4%. There's nobody to do these projects.
And here and the fault and here and I've told you this before, and I think that things needed to be prioritized. It doesn't. We honestly needed, because we know where we are and the limitation when it comes to workforce. Like, certain things needed to be the priority to build. Like, all hands.
And you think they're not?
Well, I don't.
We've been
I don't see
designing.
the urgency.
We've been.
How long it does take to design something, man?
Like 2 years. It's a hospital. It took us.
You mean to tell me
it
ain't
took
got
us-
no other hospital around the world that were already built that we call and say, let me borrow all your plans and let's use this and start from here? I just feel like these people.
Every
hold
other
us-
hospital in the world is not subject to Cat 5 hurricanes.
But it must. Florida has Cat 5 hurricanes.
Yeah, but I don't
mean,
know what their spec. Their spec is very different to us. I will be in Florida and they're still building out the cardboard.
But what I'm saying is, I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't seem like our hospitals are or I live on St. Croix, and you know, my uncle just been to the emergency room on Sunday. It just doesn't seem like it's a priority. The hospital.
It took 4 years to get out of the old hospital. It took 4 years to get out of the old hospital because we couldn't get the temporary hospital, which was supposed to be ready in a year, done because it was done all wrong. I mean, imagine we just finished.
Leadership, though.
That don't speak to no leadership.
Yes.
And who part? My part. Because y'all's administration have messed this up. I mean, if you want to talk about leadership, I mean, I'm not going to get into the.
No, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about governor, and I'm not talking even about the governor's level. I'm talking about when you are the CEO of the hospital, right? You're the person that's on.
Don't go there.
They hired a whole team.
How much CEO MAP had under
No. I'm not blaming any administration per se, you know. I'm talking the hospital. The hospital has a board, right?
Oh God, it was a shit show. Can I say that?
Yeah.
And it's been calm, right? You haven't heard anything, right?
But what I'm saying,
you know why? Because the
legislature changed up the board.
No, we just didn't fund. We just didn't staff the local boards. So the local boards can't get quorum to have a meeting. So there's only one board now. That's why. That's strategy. Because it's the St. Croix board, district board is causing chaos, and the St. Thomas board had the issues as well too. But I think people, you got to remember, right? We're doing all of these projects. It's 2.5 years now. We're building a school.
I understand that, you know, and people, I get you, and we know that it takes time. I am just saying that the hospital had this whole territorial hospital building board, whatever it is they call, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems like we have put money to move the pace of the hospital along. You're paying like special project managers, engineers, whatever they're called. I don't even know what they're called. They'll come to testify. You know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like they're not getting the job done. So when I talk about leadership, I'm talking about on that level.
So let's first of all start talking like when you talk real facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't any. There was no match for the hospital. Let's start there, right? Most of the projects we're doing now, the Virgin Islands government didn't have a match. Okay. The only reason why we're in this game is because we got the match down to 2% from 10%. And I still think we're gonna, so 2% of 25 billion is what? Still 1.4 something billion, somewhere around there. 10% of that is 250 million. Yeah. So 1% is 25 million. Yeah, somewhere around there. But anyway, do the math, right? We just got that done last year. So we didn't have the money. Even if we wanted to move forward, we wouldn't have had the money to start a hospital because we don't have the match.
Okay, so that's
So
the
we
issue.
Yeah, so what we did is we sent these things. Remember, the hospital just get obligated last year. You know? We sent a design for the hospital before because we couldn't wait till FEMA obligated. It's only in the Biden administration we get everything done last year. You know, so this is if people oversimplify it, you can't build back 50 years of infrastructure.
And the S word is not allowed on the radio.
Okay,
so we apologize.
But I mean, still, right? I am, and I keep saying this over and over again. If people think they've seen inflation in the last 6 years, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay? What we're talking about is bringing in hotel ships, bringing in cruise ships, modular stuff, and that's if the refinery don't start, because that's a whole nother development. We got some stuff going on with Renaissance too. The amount of money is going to cost anybody to build around here. The next governor got a handful.
And that's the thing. And another thing, you know, our people don't. Virgin Islanders should not be working in the public or the private sector, because everybody just seems like everybody thinks everybody works in the public sector. But even in the private sector, people should not be working and can't afford a home. And we have.
Thank you, Bryan Roach administration.
Thank you, first time home buyers bill from the legislature of the Virgin Islands. But even to those programs, a lot of the implementation, and sometimes, you know, the old saying, it is be your own. Yes, you may have a really good initiative, but the people within those agencies aren't doing the implementation. They're not doing the rollout. And I mean, there's only so much you can do. After you've funded it, after you've given them the idea, it's all about them processing the paperwork. I mean, there should have never been where you had to take the roof program from BIHFA and give it to Adrian over at ODR. People at HFA had need to go home. If you couldn't get it done, you get fired, and let's hire people that can get it done.
You the hire in the legislature, Jamila?
No.
I'm gonna tell you what my friend said. The only person left on the bench is the boy with the asthma pump to pick now. Okay? There's nobody out here. Like the people, and when I say that, right? I say that and say, this bodies, but people, like, think about this. In the Housing Finance Authority right now, we got like Julia Rima, Darrell Griffith, Adrian, and what I'm going, Cliff. What Cliff last name is? Using the St. Thomas. Cliff Graham.
Yeah.
That's it for local and Lydia Pell. We got about 5 of those people. Only Julia working OMB, Adrian is at ODR, which is why she took over that program. And Lydia Pell is still she's working, she's Housing Authority.
Mm-hmm.
Like you realize that we bought 300 units now that we have to rehab and sell to people. We're still selling the units in Williams Delight. We're doing the Envision program, which we got like 100 homes or something in construction now. And at the same time, we still have the VI slice. Like, you know, we have less people working in the government than we had in 2007 when John DeYoung was governor.
Yeah, because we've lost a lot of the population.
But here it is here. John DeYoung capital budget was 10 million. I spent 600 million last year. I mean, so, and I'm telling people, I said, listen, all of y'all in the private sector hiring up our government employees after they gonna get a little bit of training and they're going out. That's good, you know. But your job can't move until an inspector from DPNR come to look at your plumbing that you roughing it. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have nobody there, the job ain't moving. So what happening to us is we're hitting all of these.
Which is why the legislature had to raise the minimum wage so that some people could come to the government and work within the government.
No, what I'm saying is raising the minimum wage doesn't really that doesn't really upset me. You know, I don't have any problem with people making money. My problem is the after effects of what it creates. But and then raising the minimum wage doesn't create skill levels in anybody. And I think what you're missing here is we need people with skills. We need people who we hired like 10 people
And we
to
also need to
train
have
to be
opportunity,
inspectors.
and we also
We hired
have to,
10 people to train to be inspectors. One of them passed the test.
but we also need places where they can learn the skills.
I don't want to be insulting today, right? To anyone. But look how long we've been trying to fill the police. It's not gonna happen. It's like we don't have the people.
We do know that. We know that it's not going to happen. And we know that we have a recruitment problem. But all across the nation.
No, we don't have a recruitment problem. We have a people problem. We don't have people with the skills necessary. How can people come to me and tell me, oh, I could do this and I could do that? Yeah, and we're so busy, we don't have time to train you.
But we have to make the time. If we want our society if we want our society to be successful, we have to stop and take the time to train those individuals.
I want you to go to these. I was in OMB yesterday, that international private bank where we bought downtown Christian said, right?
Yeah, because you said some foolishness, but how is some tech things?
It is.
But in OMB and financing going on in it?
Yeah, that too. All of it exists in the same. It's a big building. Go and see it. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I was looking in their conference room and I was like, and I told them, this look like kindergarten. All these young Virgin Islanders working now. And let me tell you, when our Bryan leave office, a whole ton load more people are gonna go home. We just don't have the people. They're coming up, but the projects are so immense.
And the way to get them here is that the problems are twofold. We have to have affordable housing so that they can come in, and people need the reliability of WAPA, which you promised to fix this year, and your time winding down. Are you any closer to the fix?
What do you mean? We got 35 megawatts.
I'm just asking the
question. We have that legislation we have before the legislature too. We gotta get St. Thomas now. Like it's working, right? Like in St. Croix, Carl could take down the unit, WAPA could take down a unit because they got solar power in the day and do fix and repair. In St. Thomas, we can't do that because the demand keeps going up. It's been hot. They're peaking at 62 megawatts some days. So, but there's no backup. So we got to finish these projects, and we got to get them rapidly permitted and done. So that's coming to the legislature too.
So you think that you're going to be able to fulfill that promise to fix WAPA by the
the rate is about to go down soon, and the reliability of both plants is going to be up. One of the reasons why the St. Thomas plant keep dropping is because they're trying to test the ward cellars over on propane, and they keep failing. When they shut down, they're shutting down the whole plant. So it's painful, but sometimes you gotta go through the pain to get it done. But like I don't know, people stop when people don't stop doubting me. I mean, what you gotta do? COVID, GRS, you're 8%. When people get a check, they still couldn't believe it.
You need to behave statesmanly, and you need to don't say certain things, and you need to not act like a what is that? A narcissist. You can't just.
I think that's what people.
You can't just go up in front of the people in place, the podium, and just say what you want.
Why not?
Because
that's called transparency. That's what the people want.
But I'm just telling you. You ask a question, why did it be dealt with you? Because the people think that you don't feel the pain of regular folks, and I keep telling you all the time, people. It's what's in their pocket. People need to be able to see things, and like on St. Croix, will a vast majority of Cruisians say, "Oh, he was a good governor"? They're gonna say no. You want to know why? The hospital ain't fixed. You can't point to. You have to.
It's
show.
just amazing to me. Is that we are so focused.
But I'm just telling
on
you,
whatever.
You have to see something. So John DeYoung, right? His legacy on St. Croix was he was able to get Diageo. People see that.
No way. People don't see that. They cuss him every day for Diageo.
But they could see it, and that's why Cruisians.
But they cuss about it.
That's what I'm talking about.
But they cuss anyway.
But I'm saying he will always be remembered on St. Croix because of Diageo. They didn't like him, and he really. I'm telling you.
John DeYoung's name in St. Croix is still like.
But I never said it was good. I said they remember. And they never liked the Diageo, and that's a constant reminder of him.
When you look at the new school, when you light up the highway, when the new road, when you look at the
but it needs to be done.
All the parks that we did, the Meadrick Cummins thing, all the road paving we did in
Governor,
town.
I'm
I
telling
mean,
you,
like what
you're
Gallows
asking,
Bay, this road
you're
right here,
asking
we're
me a
done wash
question.
out.
You're asking me a question, and I'm answering you.
When you look at
Them
Walter
thing-
I am hard
them
to get
thing-
3 national
Them
awards.
thing is like
When you look at Red
them
Brick
thing
and
is
what
like
we doing there,
appetizer.
it's
They don't
like, come on,
follow
give me a
you.
break.
I'm telling you, them things
Name
to
a
them is like
governor
there's
in the
like
history of the
appetizer.
Virgin Islands that has done as much as me. What governor? What
I gotta
governor
watch
has
your
ever got
document. I go.
2,000 acres of Maroon Bridge? What? Who has been balling for forever? Now belong to the
Well, I'm
government.
glad that you bought the property. I will not. I will.
All the land around the pool, the lagoon
I
down
glad
there
they buy that.
belongs to the government of
I
the
don't have a
Virgin
problem
Islands.
with that.
Mahogany Road under construction.
But-
The highway is now lit in St. Croix. East and West Airport Road. We moved Gallows Bay out of Gallows Bay down to the container port.
But
We
listen,
rebuilt the container port building and the whole new board and Finch Pier. And I could go on and on and on and on. It'll never be enough.
no, I'm
The-
telling you
the
because those are
The
appetizer.
Dodgers will never like the Yankees.
Those are
And the
appetizers
Yankees will never like the Dodgers.
because those are appetizers. People want steak. You want to go give.
We
people,
paid everybody
you want to-
like Bill. We
you want to
paid
give-
the food
you
stamp.
want to give
We
people
paid the
meatballs.
8%. We saved the GRS.
See,
I mean, like, do you think, like, you realize how many times this administration has stopped this entire Virgin Islands from collapsing? I mean, the other day we got the 1350
and
solidified after 50 years
And can I tell you
of
this?
doing it.
And I'll tell you this to your face. And history will redeem you. I will not.
I don't feel like I need redeeming.
Well,
so.
or whatever, however the saying go. I know I'm using the wrong word, but what I'm trying to say is in the present moment, and I
But
always
nobody could bring up any governor that did any better.
it don't matter.
Oh,
It don't matter to them. This is what I'm telling you. It doesn't matter.
I understand that. I understand your point.
You see what
I
I'm saying?
understand it. But there has never been an administration that has accomplished as much as we have. I challenge anybody to do it. What people,
you want to get the young acolytes and the people who are going to run on the young coattails to run for governor.
I hope, this is my hope. I hope
upset.
that the next governor, right, outdoes me, because it's not about me, it's about the people of the Virgin Islands. I hope that the next person, I putting up my scores, so the next person could do better. And if I can help that person do better than me, I will help them. Gary Brake, a lot of my records at the Department of Labor, Commissioner Malloy. I like that. I want people to do better than me. I want the Virgin Islands to move forward. But it has seemed like we always have a contest of wills between administration. Like people that get lost, it's like what's happening in DC right now. They're lost in Democrats and Republicans and forgetting
The
who it
people.
is. Like you're gonna tell. We building people who were in board house. We building back the house in concrete. We get free education at the university. We giving $100,000 or more on your first down payment. People coming back from college could come into an internship program at $55,000 a year. I mean, like, we put pre-K in every school. We rebuilt the Head Starts. I mean, it's like,
we hear you.
It
It looks like you're giving us all the chapters in your documentary.
What? I mean, it's like, I'm like, okay.
You gave me all the chapters in your documentary, which is fine.
And we're about to fix WAPA. We've turned WAPA into a renewable company. And I said I was going to do that. And I did it. We did it together. And I
you ain't got a ballot next year, right?
I know.
Because you're so campaigning.
You know why I'm campaigning? Because I want these people who come in to understand that you have to do better.
So let me ask you this question.
And we said nothing next administration.
Wait, let me ask you this question. When people lie on you and take credit for your work.
Oh God.
Oh God, no. Don't go there.
I thought there was
don't go there. How come you don't come out and say liar, pants on fire?
That's not like no.
But you don't come here and you don't want to trouble and talk about all the things that you're doing. Where you need to stop. You can't pick when you want to stand up and be Albert Bryan Jr. and then you can't do that. No.
That's my fellow Democrat, right?
And the senators is fellow Democrats too.
The fellow Democrats don't cut your salary.
and fellow Democrats don't go tell the whole federal government that you lack what is that? We don't have we lack capacity.
Who said that?
That's what she said. We don't have the capacity. That's what she said. You don't know why you're talking about. You only have strength for the people in the legislature, but you don't have strength for who you need to have strength for.
My thing is all these people who are running for governor, like run, and what you gonna do? Like, I'm done.
I ask you the question: are you going to come out and correct the record when people lie?
If they lie, if you lie, I'm gonna correct the record.
So how come
why do I have to be like that? Why does the media do it? I don't want to be the bad guy.
But you don't always be the bad guy. You don't stand up on the podium every day and be transparent. Let's talk about transparency and accountability. Well, they say Neville show. I don't know why you said with Neville. Who was responsible for the rum cover over?
Our administration did it. We did it with the governor of Puerto Rico and their lobbyists as well too. So
okay,
and
because they have a whole ad talking about we must bend the knee, genuflect and kiss the ring for other people because they get this permanent thing. So can you please make the record clear?
Well, it's just not true. I mean, we work with people to get this done, and as a matter of fact, we actually wanted to downplay the delegates' influence because we all know the administration doesn't like her, the Republicans don't like her, so we try our best to. But she's our fellow Democrat still. I mean, sometimes we always have a deal. I deal with the Republicans, she deals with the Democrats.
And the legislature is full of Democrats. It has a 11-member Democratic majority in the legislature, and you're always throwing blows at the legislature. But you only have strength for local politicians.
You know why? Because, like I said there before, and I mean this very respectfully, the delegate to Congress doesn't really have any power. The legislature has a tremendous amount of power. The legislature has the legislature. I listen to some of our senators sometimes. Like, you have the power to fix anything. This is why people think I'm joking. If they change the law so I could collect my pension and be in the legislature, I would run for the Senate because you laughing because I have like 3 more pieces of legislation I'm sending down, significant pieces of legislation. Like, the legislature is a seriously powerful body. I mean, they control the judiciary, and we have some going back and forth with them on the power of the judiciary. They control the executive branch. I mean, they could, if the legislature could reduce my salary by $50,000, they could reduce my salary to 0. That's power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They do, and I think more senators need to understand that they do hold the purse strings and immense power. They get 2 bites of the apple all the time. They have 2 bites of the apple. Are you going to be publicly endorsing one of the people who gonna be in this Democratic primary?
No one has asked me for my support.
Nobody, not even your lieutenant governor?
No one has asked me for my support.
Well, sir,
nobody
come and ask you. Well, I'm running for governor. I can have your support, please.
I'll think about it.
You'll think about that. So that'll be your answer.
I love you, Jamila. I love you.
That'll be your answer.
But according to you, I need to be redeemed, so I don't have to. You don't want my support. My support is a kiss of death.
So how come you want listen, you need to be jumping on my bandwagon and come to campaign for me.
I don't bet on the first pony out the gate. I take a look at all of them and then see, because
ain't nobody better than me.
We feed a lot of ponies, but not all of them make it to the Derby. So right now it's just a lot of top.
Listen,
we'll see who gets in the gate.
I got big mare. Ain't getting none of them.
Stop that. These people, I guess, have to shake when you hear these things.
I'm running for governor for real. I feel like since everybody else running, I am going to run for governor.
We don't have that many people running.
I got all kind of people. I don't count 10. I got all kind of people running. I am running for governor of the United States Virgin Islands. Jamila and Fifa Russell. You hear it here first.
Can I do your first interview? I want to interview you.
Yeah, I want you to interview me. And the governor will interview me. And we will take the opportunity to discuss. It's 9:30. I know you had a hard stop and you just stopped in.
It's always fun talking.
Yeah, just have an easy breezy conversation.
You throw me some hard balls, so there's some curve balls. You jam me in the hospital. You jam me on my. I don't know if I'm getting the French is a bad thing. I'd be amazed of why I have to justify and
because that's what you have to do.
You're the voice of the people.
No, but you just can't just tell people that this is good. And expect for people to be like,
imagine being married to somebody and every time they come to you, they're like, you suspicious of what they're doing. It's think about, I just think about this. Think about what kind of energy it takes to run for governor.
I like Ronald Reagan.
What's that?
Trust but verify.
Yeah. I mean, you know how hard it is. There's only 9 of us. You know how hard it is to be governor of the Virgin Islands? It is very difficult.
And they get people running who just want to run for SAW. Not that they want to do it, they just want to run for SAW. And I love the Virgin Islands more than I can hate any one politician. And I told them the other day that I'm an equal opportunity basher, and if I think that you are a threat to the Virgin Islands, I defend the Virgin Islands from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And whether or not I like who is in government house or not, when you come for somebody in government house, I'm because government house is me, is the people of the Virgin Islands. I am going to defend the Virgin Islands, and whether or not I work at the legislature or not, when people talk about the legislature, because I understand how the legislature works and the importance of that branch of government, I'm going to defend the institution. And so people wonder about me all the time. I don't drink tea for other people's fever. I like enough, that. I never heard that. I have enough people that don't like me. So pick a number and get to the back of the line. So I can only deal with who don't like me, because that's a long list. And so I just want for
your mother's gonna talk to you about how you're supposed to be today.
I know, right? I know, right? Because can use her boy. You don't get me in trouble and when you come up here. But I honestly think that sometimes, and I tell you this all the time, you just come after people as being, I don't want to say arrogant or pompous, but you come at that a little sense of entitlement. People want to thump you. You don't make people want to thump you.
Trust me, I don't want to thump some of them too.
No, but I'm just saying, like hey. It'll be like sometimes you just say things and it'll be like, dude, like you really said that? Like you just gonna keep that to yourself?
Why? I mean, it's like you want a transparent. Transparent is painful. You know what, man? Bearing the burden of the truth is very painful. I mean, like, I've had some days with some truths of the Virgin Islands, like WAPA going like without power, people dying. It is, I stress out. I laugh this is like, I feel like I drive around in my entire house every day. Like everything that bother me about it. Like one thing I'm looking forward to is taking a peaceful drive without worrying about the crooked sign, the grass, the pothole. Why the hell they move this boat from waterfront and over here? Like all those things annoy me too. And I try to share my frustration in a way that's dignified. And I think what frustrates me about the legislature, we had a good meeting with the majority the other day, by the way, is I just want to get it done. Okay. Like I got so much stuff to do. Like this French Monthly thing is like, I have a listing like with 100 things that I go over every Monday. We got to get these things done. And what frustrates me, I realize, is process. It's just like you say, oh, this need more work. We got to do, well, just do it and pass it and let's go. But I don't care, but I need it done. That's how I think. So it may come off as arrogance sometimes, but it's just an effort to like, we got so much things to do. Summer's end.
But you are wrong that I was just about to
we won.
Up. It ain't a matter of winning and losing. What you did on the back end, you should have done on the front end.
But that's not transparent.
No.
If I go to the Attorney General first.
But you needed to find out, because I read the section of the code, and I'll tell you, for somebody, and that's why I was talking to you about looking at the different sections and the entirety of the Virgin Islands Code.
Right.
So if you just look at the section that you're always accustomed to look into in Title 29 or 27, I forget which section it is, if it's 29 or 27, right? And you don't continue to read, it's buried down below. And that's because somebody was lazy and didn't draft the legislation in a manner where it can be read.
Right.
Because Novell asked the question during the hearing, if you have to get federal permits, why does the local permit expire if you have to wait on the federal permit? And somebody had thought about that and put that in down somebody put that in down on the bottom. And so it just makes the community think that you're doing something nefarious when you could have, and you had people questioning this Attorney General's position, like, oh, he's contorting the law to match Albert Bryan. Had you just had read the information and then had a well thought out correspondence sent to the CZM board and to the legislature saying, hey, this is what our attorney generals have found. We're moving in this direction. And then what you would have
But
done.
then I wouldn't have to send it to the legislature.
No. But that's what I'm saying. I didn't say send it to the legislature. You could have sent them a well-written correspondence.
I wanted it to be transparent.
No.
I didn't want to guess.
You would no, but your attorney general opinion. You write the letter. You send it, and then if it had senators that said, "Oh well, we don't believe you. We don't," and then you have the hearing with all of the information.
But then
and
it looks. You see, so I get dinged if I do, dinged if I don't.
Yeah.
I knew before, they had told me that, and I said no, because DPNR rules and regulations written kind of squirrely. They're not in accordance with the law. So I said, let's go to the legislature and this is easy. I always think this is gonna be easy. Let's get this done. And it didn't turn out that way because of the land and the ladies and everything. I think if without the land, it would have get through.
And then the testifiers, sometimes it's about the candidate, and
Yeah.
she was just like, don't come in the legislature with your phony baloney crocodile tears.
That's just how she's really like that though.
Oh Jesus! Well, you need to send somebody to represent you,
Like,
but
I
you
hate
have
when
to.
I have to
Yeah,
leave
you
her
have
because I
to.
love talking
Yeah,
to
but you have
But
to go.
you see, that's the thing. I'm glad you brought it up because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's like, you don't like. I always want to involve the legislature. That sounds weird, but I like what we doing. People to know, right? And I'll part on this, and I know it's a last lick for you. The legislature up to now, right? We still don't have transparency as to who's getting contracts and what's going on in the legislature. You don't even have it in the judiciary. The executive branch is the only place where you can see every contract.
As it should be.
Listen, we transparent to the point where we sent out I didn't even know the documentary was out for bid, right? We just sent it out because we're by the law. We are so transparent. We everything we do out in the open to a fault. And we just still get dinged. Oh, the government trying to do this.
Well, you're the head of government, so you're supposed to get dinged.
I'm going to Africa. Did you read that?
No, when you going to Africa?
I'm going to Ghana over the
holidays?
Yeah, over Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then I have to go to DC. Yeah, I think, we're not from Denmark. You know that, right?
I know that.
And we don't have any connection to where we came from. And I think there's some opportunities there for trade, for tourism.
If you're going to Ghana, I'm going to send you the name of that's on the state level though, but he's
Senate
from the NCS I met him at NBCSL. They had a whole congregation that had come over for the National Black Caucus of state legislators. And they had actually invited us to Ghana, but I was like, dude, I got staff on me. I'm
the first Black United States governor to ever visit Ghana.
Oh well, I'm very.
And I'm probably the only Virgin Islands governor to visit Ghana. And imagine we've been going to Denmark for all these years.
Yeah, I mean, at Denmark,
yeah,
but I'm gonna be reaching out because we're working. Don't forget we're going to be needing your help on the work that we're doing to help these people at LBJ.
No, I think I figured it out. I have a meeting. I don't know why HFA can't do this.
They can. They're just being, and I don't particularly.
So,
I don't think I particularly like the head of HFA. But
this is. I've been working with Senator Maurice James on a lot of home issues. Is your senator involved?
Yeah,
in it?
Clifford,
I told her I would invite her to the meeting because we got.
We have ownership of the draft legislation.
To do what?
Working with her.
To find money to move down.
Yeah.
See, I
think I have a.
I think they could do it. The HFA could do it rather easily.
Yeah, but I think sometimes you may have to legislate that they do it.
My thing is I always tell them, right? It's like I want to make sure that they have a house. Right?
You can't take homeowners and make them renters.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And that has nothing to do with the value of whatever they have now, because that can't buy them back a house. So
exactly.
The government have to step in.
I'm so glad that you see it that way because
I met with them.
People don't understand that. Of course, the value of where they are cannot in today's economy buy them a home anyplace else. So the government has to do right by them and make them whole.
I just don't know where the funding source is. And I think we went to a housing finance before, and it was because it's only I think we could move for about 8 million. I don't even think it'd be that
I don't even think it's that much. I think it's the math I did is a lot less. And I'm only talking about moving those people who actually reside there.
Well, we want to move everybody because we have a whole plan for that. We want to
No, but
create a boatyard.
But for those individuals that don't live there and it's just a property, you don't have to buy them a house. You just pay for the property.
But we can't displace people either because then we're gonna be able to move. Anyway, that's a whole.
No, but they don't live. They don't live there already.
But we got to buy their property.
Yeah, just buy the property.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we're not displacing.
You're not displacing them. You only
own the plot.
You only give a house to those who housing, and then them that who landing, you only give them landing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great talking to you.
I was good talking to you. I love you,
Virgin
more.
Islands.
Yeah.
It's it's a lot of issues. I always want to say I like our relationship because we debate, we go back and forth, but at the end of the day, like you say, it's people that are important. So we're working on that. We're paying attention to what's going on the Hill. I mean, I don't know why the legislature only authorized the 2.7 million. They should have just authorized me to use the money to satisfy that need. And I think if the legislature gonna hear it again, we need to do. I already called WAPA about our federal employees and their light bills and how we could. So he's trying to figure out how to do that, how to give them grace time to pay their light bill for those federal employees. But we got to do something else for them too. I mean, because it's getting a little long now. I mean, it's almost 40 days, and it'll last another week at least.
No, it's gonna last. I think it's going to last until the airlines, which begin next week, to feel the hit when their prices and their stocks begin to shift.
Well, we too, because season's coming. Like if we don't get this fixed before Thanksgiving, our season's gonna be.
Yeah. So there's some issues happening on the national level. Donald Trump wants them to exercise the nuclear option, and I think that they're going to do it.
The Democrats, I'm supporting them. Like, don't give in. They hoodwinked us once.
But my thing is, here's my thing, and maybe I'm just a little bit too simplified. The Democrats are saying that they're holding out for Obamacare, right? For health care.
The extension of a health supplement that was there since COVID.
But the healthcare costs already rise for the 1 year. They're set for the 1 year anyway. So you're holding out for a reduction that can't be backtracked to be implemented.
So it's a matter of principle too, because remember, Schumer signed the continuing resolution and got them to do it last time, and they promised them that they would address it, and they didn't. So they're saying, "Oh yeah, sign it, and we're gonna do it again." It's like, nah, you don't fool me once, shame on you. No, fool me twice is shame on me. So I get it, but I mean, we need to do something about these people getting paid. But anyway.
Shauna said she knows an excellent tour guide in Ghana.
Oh yeah?
For November.
Which Shauna?
For November.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, November.
I'm really looking forward to that, man.
Yeah,
I'm really like,
you're going in your official capacity.
Absolutely.
Oh wow.
And
you going to go?
No, he ain't coming. I'm taking minimum staff. You know how much the thing costs? When they were like, you need 3 bodyguards. I'm like, no, 2. And I was like, no, you're not going either. It's so expensive. I mean, I was going to Switzerland 2 weeks ago. NGA was paying for most of it, and I was like, nah. Because, you know how expensive it is because I got to take 2 security.
I like the trips where they pay for the senator and then say, oh, you can bring 1 person. When Donald was the president of the legislature, but I got NCSL paid for her to go to France, but I had Shashamani, so Kim got to go. And those, I missed out on some of those. That's what happened when you're a parent, a child with special needs. But those conferences, a lot of the cost is borne by the organization.
But the thing about me is, like, I got to take security and everything else. That'll drive up the cost, man.
You want me to be a security?
You gonna pay through, you go in luggage cargo?
No, I gonna be a security and you leave one here and I gonna be a security. Just show me how to hold a gun.
Hey, all I gotta say as I leave is good luck on your gubernatorial quest.
Yeah. Me and you on talk, After you talking nonsense, but you're gonna think about it. You need to tell people like fully endorse Jamila. That's what you need to say. All right, see you. Bye-bye. All right. You coming on, Richie? Come. Sit down.
Okay.
Come.
I might as well. I'm here, right?
You might as well. You're here. Let me get you, because you shorter than the governor. Are you guys the same height? You shorter?
I'm like an inch and a half shorter than
okay. How are you?
I'm good.
Did I ask any bad questions?
No,
Oh, sorry.
I thought I losing my voice a little bit, but I thought the interview was good. I mean,
It
you know,
wasn't
it's
really an interview. I need to set up a formal interview with him.
but in the conversation was
Yeah.
good. It's always a conversation. You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct. Yeah, no, I, you know, the governor has some of his favorite places to go when he wants to, you know, have a good conversation
Mhm.
is your show
Okay.
and Neville's show.
Okay.
He always says that.
Okay.
And that's the full transparency, honest truth. Like, you know, I know we've been trying to get him on before. His schedule was a little tight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like earlier this week, he's like, hey, I gonna be in St. Croix on Saturday. Call Jamila. Let me, you know, he said I gonna be on St. Croix on Saturday and I get time between 8 and 9:30. I wanna do some radio. So I was like, well, that's Jamila's show, you know. So he was like, all right, set it up. So that's when they called you. I mean, so.
Yeah, he's you know, it's interesting talking to him because there's so many things that happen, but then there are things that happen. So you know, I do my show once a week.
Right.
I'm starting back my Wednesday show.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm starting back my Wednesday show because there's so much to talk about. But you know, I think that the time between when he says something crazy and you get to want to question him about it, you know, 10 other people have spoken to him about it. You know, and I just it's his take on his documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling it that because I don't know what else to call it. Is very, 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 very interesting, and his perspective is interesting, and you have to respect it. You know.
So I would say this about the whole thing, right? I mean, unfortunately, it has been an issue that has succumbed to somebody out there putting out a perspective that is skewed, right? And I call it out. The Daily News took this opportunity to. They saw a request for proposal that went out on the property procurement website. They obviously saw it, read it, and they chose to brand this thing as a pet project for the governor, or the governor using taxpayer dollars to create this vanity project about his life and himself, right? None of that is like, that's just the furthest thing from the truth, but that's how they want to brand it. That's fine. What it actually is, and I could speak to this because I'm the chief person behind. I did the request for proposal, right? Like I wrote the request for proposal. So I could tell you what this whole thing is about. WTJX does, and shout out to WTJX, they do this documentary series called The Governors. Very excellent, right? And and if you've ever watched one of them, it's a very informative, very, you know, it's like good VI history material.
It is.
Right? But we have 9 governors. We're about to elect the 10th in less than a year from now. And we've only completed 3 of those documentaries on the governors, right? Melvin Evans, Cyril King, and Alex Farrelly. Those are the 3. I happen to know that they're working on.
They didn't do it in order? They didn't do Juan Louis?
No, I don't know. I don't think they have a Juan Louis one. I haven't seen that.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I don't know if there's a chronology to it.
Okay.
Because they happen to be doing. I know right now they're working on De Young and they're working on Turnbull.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think there's a chronology. I just think it's like.
Oh, okay.
So I say all of that to say, there's the reason why it takes such a long time to do these things is because we haven't been good stewards of archiving our history in real time. You know what I mean? People come to me all the time and ask me, you know, if they could get photos of this or video of this from past administrations in Government House. And I'm like, I don't have it. I'm sorry. You know, like we don't have it at Government House. The best I could do is like point them to the DPNR, their archival and Division of Archives and Libraries, you know, and good luck there. But so this was an effort. I was like, hey, listen, you know, maybe we should rethink how we do these things and how we archive the day-to-day of these governors moving forward, not just about Albert Bryan Jr., not just about the 9th elected governor, but moving forward, right? Because yeah, if you're following around a governor and you have all of these behind the scenes takes and this and that and that in these meetings, that all of that footage, right? If something, there's going to be hundreds of hours of footage that you're going to film. Only 90, maybe 60 minutes of it will end up in a documentary. So all of the rest of that is archival information that belongs to the government of the Virgin
That we
Islands.
should digitize and have stored someplace.
Right.
So let me ask.
And so somebody could come now and say, you know what? I want to do a documentary on the GRS crisis. You get hundreds of hours of footage sitting here in on a hard drive that you could tap into.
I meant to ask him about GRS. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, so like, you know, some people want to make this, they want to brand this and say, oh, the governor tried to make a documentary about his life. No, it's not about his life. It's about Virgin Islands history between the period of 2019 and 2027 when he just happened to be governor. That's what the documentary is about. And the benefit that we get from that is all of that archival footage that's created. And we have a lot of it already. But all of that belongs to the government of the Virgin Islands, the people of the Virgin Islands. So somebody want to come 20 years from now and say, I want to do a documentary on something else, and COVID. You have everything, and then you have all of those perspectives.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the timing, you know, it went out with the snap crisis going on.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that people had some legitimate concerns. I got a text on my phone, guys. I don't have my typically I log on to Facebook and I stream from Facebook. However, I haven't been able to see the comments, so I wasn't able to ask any questions, and we were just having a discussion. And so y'all, if y'all have my number, y'all can text me. Y'all know the rules, or y'all could have called in. Y'all didn't call in. But I'm glad that you cleared that up, because I think so many people had concerns about it. You know, and I was on a meeting the other day, and I voiced my positions in the meeting, and somebody said something, and they were like, oh, you talk about the time or whatever, right? And I said, listen, number one is that, you know, all of the things that people whisper about, I'm going to tell you what they say. And so, like, and a lot of people don't understand. You know, I got a text and they were like, oh, how you gonna tell the governor he comes across as not, because that's what people say. I tell him straight to his face, this is what people think.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's up to him to explain to the people he governs his position on it. So I didn't, somebody said it was disrespectful of me to have told him that. I wasn't telling him he's a narcissist. I was saying that that's what people say. And how do you address that? And so I just wanted to make that clear to the people, as be like, you rough him up. I hope I didn't, but he don't have to answer questions.
I mean,
like,
yeah, like and like I said, he enjoys coming to your show. So I mean, if he feels in any way slighted or disrespected by,
he does what he needs to say.
Right, and
one
exactly.
time for one time.
He gonna tell you how he feel, and then he might not come back.
Yeah, one time for one time, you know. But from your end, as you are, you know, like you said, he has the next election is less than a year away, and by maybe this time next year, we will know who the 10th elected governor is. We would know who the 10th elected governor is, or whether or not we're preparing for a runoff election in 2 weeks.
Or that, yeah.
And you would be in a position where you're starting to transition. As the public relations person, the director of communications, how important is it for you to make sure that these last 8 years of Virgin Islands history is saved, archived, and remains available for your daughter, your son, when they are, you know, in high school, and you've been away for chunks of time, and they can go back and say, oh, well, I remember this event because this is when I had a baseball game and Eugene been there. You know, how important is that for you?
Absolutely important. And I didn't understand the importance of that until I got to Government House.
Okay.
right? So like even outside as just like a everyday Virgin Islander, I didn't understand because you like kind of oblivious to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get inside there, you realize that, all right, you know, the newspaper articles focuses, because like let's be real, like what we have right now as like historical archives is like newspaper articles, photos, but all of those things are focused on the principal, right? And there's so many other people involved. There's so many other side stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the chiefs of staff, you got the policy advisors, you got the communications director, and even when you watch the WTJX documentary,
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of those people kind of telling the retrospective, you know, view of the, you know, it's always a retrospective because it's never, it's not in real time, it's after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a lot of those people, and those are the people who are like the griots, the storytellers. So when I actually got to Government House, that's when I realized the importance of that. And I vowed to myself, I said, one of the things that I want to leave as a legacy of as a director of communications / spokesperson is when I leave Government House, I want to set a standard of this is how everybody coming in after me supposed to document this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the type of stuff that we don't document,
Okay.
right? Photos, videos. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of videos and thousands of photos of the governor just in all types of, you know, like when we go to Washington, D.C., or, you know, when you go to Florida to the air curtain incinerator demonstration,
Mm-hmm.
with other senators, his interactions with, you know, everyday people on the street. Like we have all of that stuff. And I think that those things are important. Like I'm not walking out of Government House on January 2027 with that. That don't belong to me. That belongs to the people of the Virgin Islands. I leave it there. You know?
You know what I think that they, you know, in addition to or a pictorial book, just you know 8 years in you know through you know 8 years through the lens of a camera,
Right.
because a picture does tell a thousand words, and I think that's completely beneficial. So you were in the room when I announced my candidacy for governor of the Virgin Islands.
I endorsing you. I ain't gonna let the people know right now.
So
I ain't
the governor
gonna be
was,
skittish like the
yeah,
governor.
the governor was like,
You
but
know
he
them
wants to see
politicians, like I gonna endorse you.
for these ponies and thing, like, listen, tell you the big hair, oh wait, you back on, yeah, right under below. The big mirror on the track, the big mirror.
Full-throated endorsement.
Yes,
I approve this message.
Yes, let them know.
Jamila Russell for governor. Who you gonna run with though?
The running mate is at least on my console. You know, because you know, with the least of my consoles. I have peoples.
Yeah.
You know, we have peoples. You know, so I'm glad. So so that tells you that all of the other candidates coming out can't go to Richie.
No, it done.
It done.
You got with Jamila.
It done. But I found that very interesting on this note because Elizabeth is coming on now. Found it very interesting that nobody has asked the governor for his support. What is he, the kiss of death?
Well, I mean, no, you know, politics is funny.
Yeah.
Some people, I mean, and especially when you're
and people like to assume things.
And you're turned out governor. So I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for arranging the governor, and for the record, the governor was downstairs. As I was coming down the road, I saw his vehicles. I was like, damn, he's really on time.
Yeah.
And so when I pulled up, he was like, what he said, Jamila don't ever be on time. I don't tell them that Jamila ain't gonna be up for 8 o'clock.
No, but I tell you 8 o'clock.
I was like, yeah, man. They were like, the governor coming for 8, so I'm here on time. You know, so I was, and he was here 2 minutes to 8 on the dot. I was like, dude, like, I figured I had like a couple of seconds for myself. And then he tried to get us in trouble when it first started because he has no behavior.
I didn't hear.
I'm so glad you did it. I'm so glad you did. I'm not going to repeat it because he get us in more trouble.
Facebook and look.
Listen, I don't listen. Hopefully, you mute it up on Facebook. I don't know how to be anybody but Jamila. I happen to love being Jamila. Until next time, thank you, Governor Bryan, for stopping in, and I look forward to continued discussions. We're gonna have him here again after he come back from Ghana, since he's decided that I can't be a bodyguard. We'll be back next week, Saturday. Bye-bye. I wanted to